You wanted to know how the hell I could still be a liberal in light of all that I've seen, and I wanted to answer that question for you. The first thing to say is, if you don't like communism, then you have to figure out how to address the problem of civilization so that communism does not keep evolving on you. And my point would be, every time you lean too heavily on the free market, it's going to generate chronic losers who are going to want to overthrow your system. And if you generate enough of those chronic losers, they will, and they will do so in the name of communism, and it won't work. And we can't afford to have that as a cycle. So I would argue the very best way to run a civilization is to immunize people from truly bad luck and not immunize them from bad decisions. Right? If you have truly bad luck and you are facing, ruinous medical bills, having nothing to do with what you chose to eat or how to live your life, you just had bad luck. There's no reason in the world that burden should fall on you. We should distribute that burden, right? Because it could just as easily have been any of the rest of us, and none of us want to have our families wiped out over this. On the other hand, if you are choosing to do things that result in your misfortune, that's nature's way of teaching you how not to do those things anymore. And so we need to do a good job of protecting people against truly bad luck, and we need to stop protecting people from bad decisions, right? If you do that, then I don't think you do create a chronic class of losers who want to overthrow your system, because it becomes possible to take yourself from where you are and to elevate yourself. And that's really when society works best. We create the most wealth, not when a tiny number of people are really well armed to compete in the market and other people can't figure out how to do it, but we all benefit. We get richer when the maximum number of people have the tools to compete in the market, and they have access to the market, and they have an incentive to do it. Right? If you create that world, then the point is, the reason for violence is radically reduced, because you could be investing in violence and risking going to prison, or you could be figuring out what needs aren't being met and how to meet them, or, what could be done better than something that's being done already and providing a superior product. You can be investing in figuring out how to make wealth, which it just makes the world better. So,
see, but I don't disagree with any of that.
of course,
And I don't call myself liberal.
I know.
But it's interesting because I guess when I look at that, I think of it for different reasons. Society benefits when somebody, I love the way you put that, with bad luck, right? Society benefits. And I think also it's in the good nature of most Americans to want to do something about somebody who is truly just down on their luck.
Yep.
And so to me, I see that as a conservative value as well, which is, we don't want anyone to fall through the cracks through no fault of their own. And the ultimate drain on society, and if you want to look at it from a tax, from a monetary perspective, there's less of a drain on society if we can give them a hand up than if we just let them fall deeper and deeper into ruin, turn to crime, do all these things. I think I want to know why you say on the left or liberal at all. Why pick a label for yourself?
Yep. I haven't told you yet why. I've sort of set the stage by telling you what world.
Oh, and then I rudely interrupted you. So.
No, you did not interrupt me at all. But the answer to your question is the following thing, and I run afoul of everybody's terminology here. I don't draw a huge distinction between a progressive, a leftist, a liberal. I would say a classical liberal is really a conservative. A classical liberal is conserving the gains of past liberals. I am that, but I am beyond that also an honest-to-goodness progressive liberal, and I'll tell you why. I think we are in a terrible crisis as a result of the fact that, as brilliant as our founders were, they couldn't have understood the world we live in. Right? The world we live in has marched on for many reasons, having to do with new geopolitical realities, having to do with technological realities. We don't have the wisdom for this. It's not in our Bibles. It's not in our Constitution. We got a problem. And so my argument would be the following thing. My liberal fellows fail reliably on the following count. They do not understand that they have ideas about how to make the world better. but that they are inherently intervening in a complex system. And when you intervene in a complex system, it is literally impossible to predict the outcome with any precision. Unintended consequences are guaranteed. So, you should be very cautious when you are intervening in a complex system to make sure that A, it really does do the thing that you wanted it to do, and B, that the net effect is still positive in light of all of the things you didn't see coming that also flowed from the policy that you instituted. So I have terrible trepidation about change. The more radical the change, the more dangerous. However, I'm even a radical because I don't think anything short of radical change is going to save us. I think our crisis is too severe. And so what we need are hard-headed people to look at the problems we actually face, to make the highest quality guesses as to what might lead us in the right direction with respect to addressing these problems, and then to pay ruthless attention to what actually happened as a result of the changes that we made rather than what we thought was going to happen or argued was going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? Only this way. We can't blueprint our way out of this puzzle. We certainly can't conserve our way out of this puzzle. That's the reason I'm not a conservative.
And that's what I was going to ask, because I think if I could learn something from what you just said, the issue with conservatives being they're too focused on the blueprint that already exists.
Well,
they're not thinking outside a box. They're not.
Here's the reason I get along with them so well.
Yeah.
Is that I think they are really focused on something vital, which is taking all of the gains that our forefathers have made and protecting them, right? That's what I see conservatives doing. They're looking at all of the stuff we've achieved and they're saying, how dare you? And you don't get to take that apart. We are keeping this, and you can pry it from our cold dead fingers. And frankly, I'm with them on that. But you can't conserve your way out of this puzzle. You can take all of the gains we've made. It's not enough, right? We have work we have to do. We have to make progress. It's frightening to have to make progress, but that's the nature of this moment in history. And so I want us to put our conservative minds together with our liberal progressive minds and figure out how we're going to get out of the nosedive while not destroying the gains of conservatives, which frankly were all made by liberals to begin with.
Right. The ideas of liberals are now conservative.
That's what it is.
No, I think it's really well thought out. And I believe you see even some signs of that with President Trump. I mean, I don't really think he's a conservative.
I agree.
The thing he's doing right now with Trump accounts is a dramatically new idea. And to get the private sector to buy in a way that you have babies that are now being born, starting off with the ability to build wealth in their lives, which I think could, fix a substantial issue in our country that was born out of slavery, which is a lack of generational wealth that has led to some of the discrepancies that we see in society. So I agree with you. I mean, I think that conservatives can be a little stodgy and stuck in old ways, but I'm okay with trying new ideas. I'm okay with trying new things for a new era. But as you pointed out, the decider in whether that's a success is whether people can back away from it when it doesn't work.
It's so important.
Yeah.
So I would just argue. So I study complex systems in my scientific side. And the point is, if you're thinking about blueprinting a solution, you've already misunderstood the puzzle. And this is the problem with the Democrats. They know what they want to do, and they know what's going to happen when they do it, and they will convince themselves that it did happen, whether or not that's the outcome. The two modes of thought that you have to have are navigation and prototyping. We are trying to go someplace that none of us have seen. We can navigate there. We can make a change. Did we get closer to the thing we're trying to get to or farther away? Our values are the North Star in that puzzle. We are trying to build a civilization that matches our values better than our current one. You make a move, did it get closer or farther? You make a different move. The point is you can get there incrementally in that way. And the other way to think of it is prototyping, right? You have an idea for a machine that's going to make life great.
Yeah.
You build it. The first version is so inefficient and clumsy and prone to failure that it couldn't possibly be worth the effort you put into it. It's not going to save you more effort than you invested in making it, but it will teach you how to make the second version, which teaches you how to make the third version. And sooner or later, you get to something amazing, which is what you had in mind, but you couldn't get there directly.